Hello ladies and gentlemen, and movie lovers of all kind, and welcome back to the channel. As always, I am your host Brett Murphy, and for today's video I have a brand new ranking for you all, as I am going to be ranking all 5 of the Twilight movies. So this one was actually suggested to me in the comments section, and I thought it might be an interesting one to cover, because I very much so have a love-hate relationship with these movies. Truth be told, I have a lot of nostalgia for them. I've seen every single one of them in theaters because at the time of their release, with my age group at least, they were all the rage. For girls, and yes, even the boys. That's all anyone could talk about at school, so of course I went and saw them. But as time has gone on, and I've grown a little bit older and a teensy bit wiser, I see them a little differently. So that begs the question, how would I rank all 5 of them? Well folks, we're about to find out. Before I hop into the actual ranking itself, I just wanted to let you all know that I have an entire playlist dedicated to all of my ranking videos. I think there's somewhere in the range of 100 videos on that ranking playlist, so if you are a fan of movies and you enjoy ranking videos, and not just franchises, but directors, actors, and a few others on there, you absolutely need to check out this playlist because I guarantee that there will be something on there for you to enjoy. While you're there, I highly recommend hitting that subscribe button while you're at it, because I'm making ranking videos constantly, and I always read every single comment and love to take suggestions, so if you have any ideas, be sure to send them my way. And so without further ado, let's hop right into things. Number 5, Breaking Dawn Part 1. Look, for me, this movie is completely and utterly useless. I get why they did it. Money. Lots of money. Harry Potter had just done it and did it very, very successfully, so they wanted to follow suit. However, they probably should have at least given us a little bit of substance, something to hold our attention, rather than 2 hours of just setup for part 2. Now, I get that's the purpose of a part 1, but typically there's at least something going on under the surface. And for this one, it isn't. I can sum it up in about 10 seconds. Bella and Edward get married, they go away on their honeymoon, have sex, Bella gets pregnant, Bella is dying while pregnant, she stays pregnant, dies giving birth, Edward turns her, end of movie, and on to part 2. Sure, there's a little bit extra going on in the background setting up that big final conflict, but aside from that, this movie is a total snooze fest and absolute bore. And by a fair margin, the worst in the saga in my mind. Number 4, New Moon. And this one is by far the most melodramatic of the series, which, if you are familiar with this franchise at all, you know that's a pretty hard thing to do considering all of it is just so overdramatic. Basically what happens in this one is Edward and his family leave, Bella just becomes super depressed and does nothing but mope around, which I guess isn't really far from the norm, and then she jumps off the cliff and Edward thinks she killed herself, so he gets all depressed too and wants to kill himself, Romeo and Juliet style. And that is essentially the movie. Again, super melodramatic, very just drab and dreary and gloomy, and there's just really nothing overly enjoyable here. However, the reason it ends up in 4th place instead of that last place 5th spot is because I do enjoy getting to explore Jacob's backstory a little bit more. Of course, he finally cuts that long hair. We see what the werewolves look like and learn more about his tribe and everything that's going on with them. And I actually found that stuff to be mildly interesting, and there's decent setup here too because we meet the big bads of the series being the Volturi, so at least there are some moving parts going on here behind the melodrama that at least makes this movie a little bit worth your time. Number 3, Breaking Dawn Part 2. There's probably going to be a lot of Twilight fans out there that really disagree with me on this one. Based on the ratings, this one is the favorite, I'm pretty sure. However, for me, it definitely could have been the favorite. It had the potential to be this epic finale, but instead it ends with a giant slap in the face. I mean, this movie was going hard in its final act. We had the Cullens, a few other vampires here and there, and then the werewolves as well, all going head to head with the Volturi. And at first you're not sure if it's really gonna go down, but then they start to throw down. I'm pretty sure it starts off with Carlisle getting his head absolutely ripped off. So many main characters die, so much crazy shit happens, and I'm sitting there for the first time watching this thinking, oh my god, they are going all in. This is the finale. They are pulling no punches. This is a no-holds-barred throwdown, and then poof! We realize that this was all just a vision, none of that actually happened, nobody actually fights, they go their separate ways, agree to leave each other alone, and then it's just this happy fairy tale ending. And that to me was just a total shit show, because it was actually being cool, it was being awesome. I genuinely enjoy that final fight. And then they just throw it all away, and that's why it's in third place and not first. Oh, and also that horrendous CGI baby is also a major reason for it not being in first place. That thing is a crime against cinema. Number 2, Eclipse. I actually have a soft spot for this movie that most people don't seem to. I think it has probably the strongest opening scene out of this entire saga. It's actually very horror-esque, and I wish we got more of those kind of scarier, darker elements in this saga as a whole, because this is definitely the darkest one if you ask me. I also think it was a smart move to recast Victoria as the brilliant Bryce Dallas Howard, because she's superb in everything that she does. And even though she isn't given much to work with in this movie, she definitely does her best with the material. It actually felt like there were some stakes in this one, because unlike part 2 of Breaking Dawn, where it's all just an illusion, a dream, a vision of some sort, the throwdown actually happens in this one, and there are actual consequences. People, well, vampires, die, and then they stay dead. It actually feels a little bit intense at times. And yes, of course, there's still a bunch of romance and the melodrama that you're used to and come to expect from this series. But this one felt the most daring of the bunch to me because of those darker elements in there, and the strongest villain of the series with Bryce Dallas Howard as Victoria. Number 1, Twilight. Why is it number 1 for me? Well, plainly and simply, this is the one I have the most nostalgia for. This is the one I've watched the most, the one I have the fondest memories with, and the one that really did kick off this whole craze for the young adult adaptation movies. And this one is so 2008, like hilariously so. You go back and watch this movie now, and it is laughably bad at times, but there's also actually some decent stuff mixed in there. No, the performances aren't great, but I love the score to the movie. I really do love this kind of more dreary color palette that they went with, and it feels like, I don't know, I'm just someone who really resonates with like rain and kind of like overcasty weather and this sort of moody vibe, so I do like the vibes that this movie gives off, and again, the score complements that really well. But I remember everybody at school was reading this book, and everybody had seen the movie before me, and when I finally saw it back when I was like 10, I really enjoyed it. So again, it's mostly the fond memories that puts this one in first place, but hey, first is first, so there you go. So that is all for today's video, folks. Be sure to let me know down in the comments if you agree or disagree with my ranking. While you're at it, if you love movies, be sure to smash that subscribe button right now in order to find a plethora of new content on my channel weekly, as well as a massive backlog of 500 plus videos for you to enjoy. I do rankings, top 10s, versus videos, tier videos, and so much more. And while you're at it, don't forget to ring that little bell icon, that way you can be notified about all of my latest uploads. And don't forget to comment any suggestions you might have down in the comments below. I read and reply to every single comment, so if there's something you want to see, send it to me. And as always, stay safe, thank you so much for watching, and that's a wrap. Hey you, yeah you, if you made it this far, just know I appreciate you, and while you're here, consider hitting that subscribe button.